What if margins are tight? Even if margins are tight, we help make every dollar count. Find your way forward with Simplot Grower Solutions.
Hello, I'm Matthew Malcolm with California Fruit and Vegetable Magazine, reporting to you here today with Raymond Mireles. He's a almond and fruit advisor for the Central Valley with the UC Cooperative Extension. I wanted to talk with you today about a topic that we've got covered in the coming issue of California Fruit and Vegetable Magazine on the cherry crop this year. It was kind of strange. Some growers had very little, some had hardly any crop this year. And wanted to ask you what were your observations and what might have been the cause of this? You know, cherry crops I know is a high risk crop as it is, but you know, if we can mitigate that risk, tell us about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was fortunate enough to be in collaboration with Kevin Day, previous pomology advisor for Tulare County. We're doing a study in Tioga cherries to do some looking at different effects of thinning to see if we can get better quality. It's kind of puzzling because we went out there, did our thinning, and really didn't get any treatment differences, which was kind of concerning, especially in Tioga cherry as they're self-fertile, so they set pretty heavy. Based off of that, I just started to get some farm calls, regarding this year's bloom in cherries. Some of it was kind of just really weird. Some growers, as you mentioned, got some pretty good bloom, got good crop. Some kind of got a mediocre crop, and then some didn't get a crop at all. And so really kind of took some time to kind of explore that, kind of ask around and do a little bit of investigatory research to see potentially what were the causes. And ultimately, what me and some colleagues at the UC have kind of came down to is the wintertime temperatures with the fluctuation. Maybe didn't get as cold, maybe not as much chill as we're thinking. But then also, potentially we have some carbohydrate storage issues that we faced earlier last season, especially when we had those high temperatures at the end of the season.
Yeah, with permanent crops, you got to be careful. I mean, I know we've had some hard times, right, where, with inflation and other financial struggles. But, as soon as you cut back on caring for those trees, it makes a big difference in the coming years. It can't just jump back in, right?
Absolutely.
So do you feel like that there may have been some cutbacks that the people didn't take necessarily the proper care of their trees, at the end of the season or following the crop?
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely think whenever we have seasons like this where, the margin for error really narrows, especially when we have environmental conditions that we really don't have any influence on, but the tree gets taxed from it. Essentially, the tree is the one that's suffering from, these higher temperatures and that we see both at the end of last season and then during the winter time. And so what growers were able to get away with last year, because things weren't so bad, the margin for error definitely narrows. And so you really have to be on your P's and Q's in order to take care of that crop. So your post-harvest irrigation really comes into play. Your post-harvest nutrition really comes into play to making sure those trees have everything they need to wake up for the next season.
Yeah, I know springtime on a lot of crops, that's when people really focus on the nutrition, fertilizing and such. But you're saying, so for cherries, what's the ideal window where you really need to be fertilizing and what with?
Yeah, so just like your nut crops, I mean, your almonds, it's another prunus species. Your peaches, another prunus species. It definitely depends on your cultivar, your variety, your root stock as well, and really your soil conditions and how healthy that soil is. Hopefully you're taking your samples throughout the season, your leaf tissue analysis just to see what's going on. Probably every couple of years, maybe do a soil analysis to understand what's getting tied up, what's available for those crops. Those are things in season, you need to be looking at, but if you see some things that towards the end of the season there maybe need to be corrected, your zinc or maybe even a nitrogen at the end of the season may be beneficial for those crops. Help them to go to sleep with reserving a lot of these carbohydrates, and like I said, just to wake up ready to go for that next season.
Great. Well, thank you for the insights. I think it's really important. I know farmers do think well into the future because our roots are grounded in, and so that's something to consider, though, is that what we do this year can and will very well affect next year's crop. So take good care of those crops as they go into dormancy. and read more about that. Raymond authored an article. It's coming out in the coming issue of California Fruit and Vegetable Magazine. So read about it there at Matthew Malcolm, CaliforniaAgNet.com.